Episode 41, CROM Update with David Molina. Oh, it's the aftermath of
Yes, the
the
aftermath.
August release of CROM, the collected. And so there's 140 pages of black and white sword and sorcery magazine size goodness. And this is the David Molina cover,
Mm.
which you can no longer get on CROM the
No. Wah,
Barbarian, no
wah,
longer
wah.
available. Exactly, because copies are heading to David Molina.
You
Um, I'm going to
hoarding
be
them all.
doing yeah, I'm going to be, so you have to purchase from the artist. That was a part of the deal for these guys, that they were not only going to get some publication, but some attention out of it too. So once I have you guys, I know you guys have copies. I'm going to reach out to you guys, and then we're going to get some information to have posted on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, CROMTheBarbarian.com on how to get directly to David Molina and the other guest artists to acquire a David Molina cover. My cover is always going to be available. As a matter of fact, I am waiting on a new proof copy because I had to reconfigure some stuff because of the ISBN and going global distribution. So keep your
Mm.
fingers crossed. Lulu offers a global distribution, which means this book could end up on Amazon and
Wow.
in 40 bookstores, schools, or libraries. 40,000
Awesome. Right on.
bookstores
Mm.
going. So this is something I've been really wanting to explore. So more news about that. But today is about the Last Dryad.
The Last Dryad.
So that's not that bad. That was, I mean, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
cut that out and see, when they do the animation feature.
Right.
I've been listening to a lot of like Celtic,
Mm.
Icelandic, Viking
Uh,
music
yeah,
lately.
yeah, me
So,
too. You have the drums and the,
oh
the
yeah,
what is the guttural voice they have, and yeah,
yeah, it's
the
almost
throat
like
throat voice,
Gregarian.
whatever. I don't know what it's called.
But I just finished getting through a series of was the Icelandic sagas.
Mm.
10 of them, and then 7 was Supernatural Iceland,
Oh wow.
and that was from a channel called the Reykjavik Grapevine,
Yeah.
which is a bookstore in Reykjavik, Iceland, and the presenters were just absolutely amazing. So they just gave these like really nice, quickies
Yeah.
about little stories inside the Icelandic sagas to help
Well, that's awesome.
keep the flow of
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say.
the sword and sorcery stuff going, because that's
Yeah.
really where a lot of this comes from. But you have, good sir,
Mm-hmm.
pages 1 and 2 of 8 laid out,
Yes.
and of course we are working from our first layout script
Yep.
for the last. I forgot the Last Dryad.
Oh, that's right. Last
So,
Dryad.
and yeah, dread. Now we're going to change it again. So we want to
Dryad.
get to a point where these pencils will get collected. I'll even get some word captions in here. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, we'll get a scheduled appointment with Jake Jacobs, who is
Yes.
the other half of Turbo Pit Fighter, who is the penciler and writer. I'm the inker and co-author to this comic book, which you can look up as Turbo Pit Fighter comic. So let's I really want to stay on point
Okay.
with how you handled page 1 and 2 layouts,
Mm-hmm.
which at this point, I really only have one critique,
Okay.
and it's more like a suggestion.
Yes.
But then I want to take this and move through speculatively how pages 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8 are working in your head. And so
Okay.
you're free of any doubt or fork in the road thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to keep you going. Not saying that after this episode, I sir need pages, you know, 3 through 8. We could still keep working
Yeah.
at the pace that we're going at,
Okay.
because we're in the getting ready for CROM Anthology #1, so we do have some time. But I'm just going to say this: I only have one critique,
Okay.
and it's more like a suggestion, not a
Let's
I don't
hear
you know. And it's can we get a lizard crawling down this limb?
it.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what it needed.
Like
Needs a lizard.
I was
You.
like, this is so perfect
Yeah.
in moving us. But then, like, I think it was was it Wally Wood
Mm-hmm.
did a lot of this kind of like, you know, creatures in the foreground. Frazetta, I think, did it
Yeah.
too, or
Yeah.
like things were jumping and stuff.
No.
But you know, I know we even had a point in our laying out. Let me see if it's in here.
Okay.
I had just made a notation where I was like,
Excuse me.
oh, if we could have something kind of like icky and yeah, here it is, icky and slimy coming out of like
Oh,
the
that's right. Yeah.
plants. So I was like, you know, just something, because I love, you know, once again, this is just a suggestion
Yeah.
in addition, but
No, that's
I
great. I
love
like that.
how you really give this establishing shot
Mm.
such a breath. But this would be one of those, like, just a little deeper into, is this alien? Is this prehistoric? Is this, you know, so this
Yeah, that's great. I like
guy,
that idea,
this
Kurt. Yeah,
creature would be,
that's what it.
yeah,
Yeah,
cool,
that's what it needs.
cool.
Awesome. And that
All
would be
right.
almost like a, it could be like a what do you call it? A visual help to guide you to. I mean, the tree's already going to the next panel, but it'd be even more so just to have a little extra right there with the lizard.
Heck yeah.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
You know, it's just
Heck yeah.
like a, even if it's like a, you know, a feral alien looking squirrel or something,
Yeah.
whatever comes
All right.
about.
Some
But
type of creature.
how do you feel about pages 1 and 2 laid out already?
I feel great. I mean, it all depended on how you liked it, but I like them. Um, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I took your suggestion on the tilting the maze, right? And I was like, oh man, like how am I gonna? Because it's kind of difficult to draw characters in certain perspective, and I struggle with that one, right? But
Yep.
I said, okay, so it's almost like isometric, you know. It's not quite isometric would be a little higher, right? A little higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, well, let's see if this works. And I haven't drawn the characters in the in the in the doorway
Right.
but yeah, I
And
haven't decided.
they're coming in, right?
Yes, they're coming in. Yeah,
Right.
so they
And
probably
so,
wouldn't be there, right?
um,
What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
so the other, I guess, like, and I just need you to verify this is your thought, is
Yeah.
that this is, I'm just kind of laying it here.
Mm.
This is the first penetration wall into the 7
Yes.
rings.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere in some other way of indicating, let's just say, like I said, like this, I'm just going to draw lines down
Okay.
to create like a shadowing kind of effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then even here, this is, I'm just going to say wall 1, and then I'm going to put over here wall 2, and then wall 3, just in a and if in workflow you handed these over to me and I was immediately inking, It's
Yeah.
how I would react to it, David.
Okay. Okay.
So correct me if I'm
Mhm.
misjudging some placement here,
No,
but
yeah.
this would
No,
be
that's
something I would bounce back to you before I
yes. No, that's
proceeded.
correct. Yeah, those are the
Okay.
walls right there, you know.
Okay. Okay.
Like in some what do you call it? Mazes, like the path leads you to like an empty, there's no way out. You just have to
Yeah. Dead
go
end.
backward. So yeah, dead end. Jesus Christ.
All right. All right.
God, language is not my thing.
What did you say?
Language is not my thing.
You're fine.
All right. So
You're
yes,
fine.
that's correct, Kurt. Those are the walls.
Good, good, good. Because I just what the you know we're really teasing the hell out of people because the title page
Yeah.
is the last page.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
and this is based on the first conceptual sketch
Mm-hmm.
that David sent to me, which we were still on the working title of the original 1960 pulp, which was the Last Dryad. So,
Yeah.
page 8 is going to be a kind of a splashy page and giving all sort of the information necessary. So at this point, you really just do have to follow and trust us and these two, rascally characters. But
Yeah.
I mean, I I can once again only pat myself on the back for emailing you and hoping you would like to come and play in the CROM sandbox,
Yeah.
just based on having watched your Instagram feed for, God, it must have been months to year,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
watching you play with a panel.
Yeah.
And in my own artistic way, I kept thinking like, man, this would be such a collaboration to get somebody like
Yeah.
this to just play out these. They're small pictures. I
Yeah.
know they're supposed to be, but I think a lot of times people approach, myself included, the whole page compositionally in
Mm-hmm.
one sweep. I don't know if you saw, well, you might not. Actually, you probably, yeah. Well, Jason and I did Jason Schoonover are working on is called CROM and
Mm-hmm.
he was having some struggles with just laying out pages like
Yeah.
thumbnailing. He's really like myself. As soon as pencils go down, he gets overly anxious about getting inks on top of them.
Yeah.
So he just said out loud, "Well, like, can I just start drawing it all out as a layout? And if I don't like things, I can." I was like, "Absolutely." And he was like, "Oh, thank God," And now, and this is very different from the way you go about things,
Yeah.
David. But it's also what I just love, and
Yeah.
that's going to
Yeah.
be part of the curating that I'll be doing for CROM Anthology is giving these different approaches slash visions to comic book storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
it's funny how Jason's way is so it's different than mine. I
oh yeah,
and
oh yeah,
then you put another artist, his is like stick figures and stuff. I wish I could do that, but then I'm not comfortable. It's like I'm looking at it, it's like, is this gonna work? I have to see this, this detailed in order to be like, okay, this works.
okay, okay.
I
So
just
you're actually more into the imagery being completely anchored in a visual
yeah,
sooner than even obviously any anxiety about inking it or quote unquote finishing it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
right. Okay, okay. Because just like I'll just fold this. So that works. Yeah, that works good. This is page one,
hmm
and I know I this will be there'll be a page. This will be a right hand page
okay, yeah,
because the last page 8 has to
hmm
be a turn. So
okay,
the
okay, okay,
last page will have to be the turn. So
hmm
the bigger part of it is like I love the just sort of you're literally just and we've got like a little bit of text here, a
yeah,
little bit of text here, here, like, and they're like 4 or 5 word sentences, you know,
Mm.
and it's really the bantering between the two of them
Yes.
to establish their relationship as these two rascally characters. And so you get this, you turn the page, and now all of a sudden you're like, wow, they're getting themselves into something.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then there's going to be this page 3 where,
Okay.
you know, they continue through the maze. And then, it's
All right.
just,
Yes.
and having that lizard crawling down,
Mm.
and he doesn't have
That's
to
an
be that
ad.
big. I'm just,
Yeah.
it's going to be such a, like a, wow, where the fuck are they? You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
what is, because that's the kind of, I am done with being clobbered over the head
Yeah.
in explanation, in fantasy of what it is. It's so contradictory. Why do you have to explain it to me? I'm supposed
Right.
to figure it out in a fantasy imagination. I'm supposed to use my imagination.
Yeah. 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 It's not like
Sick to
it's
death of it.
you know, like that science fiction that it's super anchored to like reality. You know, that's not
Hate
what
it.
this is. Yeah, that's not what
Hate
this
it.
is.
Hate it. It's so contradicting in my opinion, a disrespect. It's a disrespect of whoever's watching it. It
Yeah. Yeah.
basically says to you, says to me, Kurt, watch this because you have no imagination. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Most of this crap, it's like that. But and that's why I end up watching really, really bad 70s and 80s
Right.
straight to VHS crap. Because that at least they're like, hey, we don't have the budget. We don't have the
Yeah.
budget, so imagine this dragon being realistic. You know? So,
God.
um, but yeah, no. So there's you really just have this panel to work on, right?
Yes. Yes.
You got cool. Um, so just to give everybody a hi hello on where we're going with this. So page 3. Do you have anything note wise beyond what I've sent you? This is my PDF packet I
Yeah.
sent you. Um,
Yeah. Not until I start it will I, start,
okay.
fudging with, okay,
Okay.
maybe we should do this here, this. A lot of it is intuitive, even like the little where we see like the tree coming down to the next panel. That wasn't on purpose. It just happened. A lot of my stuff's like that. It just happens. But
No, and don't ever stop. Don't ever
yeah.
stop. Push it. And to be
All right.
honest with you, if you think you've pushed it too far and you don't want to stop, keep going, and I will make it work.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if anything, I can't speak wholly for Jake, but Jake
Yeah.
as the guest editor on CROM, he's gonna figure it out too. So
Yeah.
it's never anything in art where we want us to think wrong.
Yeah.
We want to
Okay.
think possibility.
Mm.
Possibility
Yes.
might be, hey, what if we cut this out and moved it here and replaced
Mm.
it with this? Like
Ah.
that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is way more exciting than, oh, David, you shouldn't have done that. I told you to do this. And you're going to have to redo that,
You're
David.
fucking fired.
No, I can't afford to fire you, David, because I'm not paying you. So, please, David, pay attention. Okay?
Oh God.
Okay? Do you feel all right? No, we're not playing that game. We're not playing
Yeah.
the game. So, like I said, just to keep people moving in this, page 3, and this also is helping David and I just reinforce the flow of
Yes.
this. Page 3 is really them. They're really deep. They're going through the passageways of the 7 walls to the center of the maze. So
Yes.
page 3, they're still having conversation. There's a lot of hesitation on Doreen the Weasel. Clubhair is literally just clobbing his way through. One of my favorite panels. page 4 is them, still making their way through, but they're basically going to be exiting into the inner chamber, let's say. So we get on page 4 also these indication of the squeaks and the sounds that are going on at their feet that they're ignoring, which even if they did see what it was, I don't think they put the two things together. And of course, then I went straight from, Last Druid is by Joseph Kellum, which was published in Fantastic Stories of Imagination, October issue in 1960. And it's only 2 pages. So page 5, 6, 7, and then we've already told him about 8, and we'll show him again, is straight out of the, I just basically cut them out. I've got a page 5, which is 6 panels, which is when they meet the druid. So this is where the druid is stoking his fire, and he's there as a keeper, guardian in a type, and of course, Clubhair and Doreen are there for nefarious reasons, which is the woman and the jewel. Then page 6 is another 6 panels. And this is just something based on the generic comic book grid of 6, but it doesn't mean each panel, as David's done beautifully with these 2 pages. These are both 6 panels. This panel 3, 4 is just moving into, in a borderless way.
Yeah.
But then you have the insets there. So Doreen then gets away from Clubhair, and then she gets into and crouches. Something is in the shadow, and then Clubhair wakes, and then goes into the inner chamber, and then sees the Dryad, which is a tree that has a jewel at her heart, her chest, or head, or however we're going to end up locating it. And then the big reveal is, we're going to have our names and the inspiration from Joseph Kellum down at the bottom, but these little white squeaking figures, which are the one that are basically the ones that have been casted a spell upon by this, living, breathing entity that's in a tree form. And and this is a CROM centric story, just so everybody understands. And what is meant by that is the anthology is not meant to hammer people into let's say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc., sequencing of a story that I've masterminded about CROM. It's about all of these separate little stories that when you read them all together in condensing, you get the larger picture. So the whole idea is if you can imagine these guest cover copies of CROM. This is 6 CROM 140 black and white pages. 5 of them will be anthologies, even up to about 200 pages. But there'll be no consistency in sequencing. Everything will be pieces of story of the larger sense of what is in and around CROM's world. But when you get to let's say the whole set, which could be like, I don't know at this point, 6 to 10 to 12 CROM anthologies, I want people to be able to sit down with all physical, there's no digital, all the physical copies, and just spend an entire day lost in that. And when they're done, they go, oh, I get it. That's the goal. Awesome. That is the goal. No, none of this, oh, I'm going to hold your hand. And you're going to feel safe. And nope, it's not going to happen. It's not. So
Heck
the only
yeah.
people that are going to be safe are the people that are working with me, because once this camera goes off, as just before, David and I share the secrets with him.
Yeah.
So we got that.
Yes, sir.
But David, are you still good with all eight pages?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just I
Everything's
have
good.
like a question or two.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
okay, so what's the so they're going deeper and deeper into um the maze,
Maze.
and
Yep.
do you think it should it get darker? Where's our light source?
Yes. The
I'm still
fire.
playing with that, you know? Is it moonlit?
The fire.
The fire, okay.
You got. It's a great question. It's an absolute great question. So I'm just going to make a
Because
note
I've been
here.
thinking
Light.
like, what's the light? What's lighting these dudes? You know? Yeah.
So you got the
Yeah.
druid's fire.
Hmm.
Okay. Moon, and then let's say the dryad's glow.
Ah, nice.
Um, so and but ultimately
Mhm.
it's dark, heavy shadows.
Okay.
So um, it'll be wild for me, because it'll be very much me building that page
Yes.
darker and
Mhm.
bouncing light back and forth in it, and using directionally these little motifs, like whether
Yeah.
it's just soft moonlight coming in behind, or if it's a harsh light coming from a campfire, or
Ah,
it's
okay, yes.
a glowy a
Hmm.
glowy um, you know webby type magical you
Yeah.
know light
Sick.
source.
All
Great
right.
question. Yeah, that's
Mm.
how I would approach it.
Okay. One more. This first page, second panel, we have our characters way up there, right? Do you think it's
Yep.
better if I draw them down here, coming
No,
towards down the path, or
no,
is that fine? Because they're supposed to be
no.
on the path, the trail, right? But they're looking down to come into the forest area, right? Off the trail.
Yeah,
That was
but
my
I
thinking.
you know what
I
I
don't
got
know.
the sense of is that
Hmm.
they were going over the
Okay,
hill.
well, that works too.
So even if you wanted to just hedge out a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
pathway over here, um, it's just
Okay.
directional, because then
Yeah.
this gets knocked down into something really dark, not black, but when
Hmm.
I ink it, it's going to be a lot of light source to gray up
Okay.
here, silhouettes, and then blinding white light.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
because
Awesome.
that's
All
the
right.
sun. That's the
Yeah.
sun. Um,
Okay. And so would you say like as they're traveling on this page, it's kind of like dusk, right? It's the evening, blah
yes,
blah blah.
it's behind them.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
It's behind them,
See,
and you established that. You established that with last
yeah,
panel,
this one
page
right
one,
here.
and those long shadows are so
This guy
beautiful.
here.
It's so
Okay.
awesome.
All right. Well, I think that was my only concern, question. Yeah,
Cool,
that was it.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can't wait
no, this is
to the
beautiful.
next 2 pages.
Me, me too. I think everybody else as well. Um, and yeah, we can end it right here, because everything has been said.
All
Just a
right.
real quick repeat. There are 5 guest artists that now have, or they, by the time this video comes out, they will have copies. There'll be links going directly to how you can get copies, because no longer are they available on cromthebarbarian.com. But what the heck we are talking about, if this is the first time you've come through, is I have constructed a 140-page black and white sword and sorcery magazine style size comic collection, and it's all about CROM. It's in 3 pieces to get a public domain character that I claim no ownership to, want to work and collaborate with others to get him from this very young barbarian in the jungle to a dark brooding god that is um, um, swear to by CROM. The really great and exciting thing is, as I was dropping my collection, there was a group of artists on YouTube um, dropping their brutal blade of CROM. I have nothing but absolute positiveness to say about this. I am not going to open this up and show you inside. You need to get a copy of this if you are into black and white sword and sorcery magazine style sword and sorcery comics. The artists are Jake Quirk, Jamie Barrows, who goes by just Jamie Comics on Instagram, is a really good source point because all these guys have copies of the books or will get you to how to get a hold of a copy of this book because it's very zine style. Matt Chi, Alex Turbin, Alan Robinson, and there's a sneak peek for Claude Willis. So this is some just absolutely, like I said, not teasing anything about that's all you're going to get. I'll show you the back just to get this. I am, as I've stated, I am collaborating with other artists. I am collaborating with David Molina, who I'm with right now, Jason Schoonover, have been going back and forth with Adam Dodds, who has some life shifting going on. It's all positive. It's just one of those things. So we're going to be working with him. Ken Landgraf is super busy right now, but he is on the hook for a couple of pages of a CROM inspired story. And then, are you ready for this, David?
Let's hear it.
Drawn Swords, Scoundrel's Dread is heading my way.
Oh,
so it is getting from the printer to him, and then we're setting up copies will be sent to me for U.S. distribution, and both of us are very excited about this. But he is asked to contribute 6 sword and sorcery pages to the CROM Anthology that he is super excited about, which I know all of us are excited about. Just a little reminder when I'm talking Drawn Sword from New Zealand, this is what's coming our way. This is his CROM, and we've got 32 pages of Scoundrel's Dread, which is about an intergalactic, completely wild bounty hunter in pinup form, and then, like I said, 6 pages coming from there. I already mentioned Dexter Jones. We'll be meeting with Dexter. He has put together a 22-pager. Don't want to tease too much out because we got an episode which will follow this episode, 42, where he is working on a story called The God CROM. And then I've made contact finally with Jim Gullett, who is a artist that worked back in 2018 for Lucky Comics. John Michael Heller is the publisher of Lucky Comics, and just a little tease right there. Amazing work from Jim. Working on a pinup is what we're going to start with. He's excited to contribute at least 6 pages, so it's working. If you're coming in on this, just be very, very aware. I have a list, and it's going to be posted within the next week or so on updating CROM Anthology #1, and there will be a cutoff date for Anthology #1, which means work will be due at a point, but more importantly, contribution will be put off, till Anthology 2 and so on and so forth. But we do want this to be constantly worked on. Whether I publish somebody or not is not my purpose. My purpose is to keep CROM alive and playful and all the things that comic books should be. So already the excitement and contacts I've been getting from people have been nothing but positive and exciting. And, once again, I just want to say, CROM the Barbarian collected 2024 revised edition, made 70 purchases. 70 people got in and made thank you. And so that means our community is now officially here. And so that is really what this is all about. I have a lot of resources. I want to put them out to people, and I want to get that. I want to get people's work. Um, the other thing I want to tease a little bit. I can't show anything yet,
Mm.
but David and his brother have been working on another short story, which there's the possibility of it appearing in
Yes.
the backstory material, or well, the backup material, which is always in, it's kind of sword and sorcery, it's that kind of
Right.
material. But the
Yeah.
what David and his brother Michael are working on, I have gotten a bit teased on, and I cannot wait to see that come into. And I'm sure we're going to have some time where we'll talk and
Yes.
share
Yes.
about it. But that's
Possibly,
really what
possibly next time. Yeah, next time I'm on, I think
cool,
I'll
cool.
have enough to talk about. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. There's no rush. Like I said, my
Okay.
number one chant here is this is a low to no stress project. I
Mm.
cannot compensate people to a place where they, can make a living. That's just not a
Right.
reality. I'm also not trying to play publisher, art director, or this is what I want. But I am playing the curator, and you're going to be hearing
Yes.
this description of myself more and more. I have visions. I want other people to construct their own, and I'm hoping they will align and they'll get with this. But there's many ways that we can go about getting this stuff out there. So, other than that,
Mm.
link down below in the description to get to David Molina's Pariah Comics Instagram handle, where if you're not following him, you're losing out on all the beautiful paneling that he just keeps putting up to keep himself
Thanks, Kurt.
warmed up and moving
Yes, sir.
forward and everything. But that is my spiel. We're going to be back. Um, and we're moving forward, like I said, to
Yes,
CROM
sir.
Anthology. But David, do you have anything for these good people before we let them get back to reading comics, making them if they choose?
No, that was it. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for being here once
You're
again.
welcome. You're welcome, and thank you. And I look forward to hanging out again.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. We'll see everybody.